So everybody has been making the video about how they survive on a teaching salary. So I thought I would jump on the bandwagon here and give you the perspective of a teacher living in North Carolina. And some of you may be very surprised. So let's get into the video. So the first question is, what state or country do you live in? And I currently live in North Carolina. I'm from New Jersey, but I came to school in North Carolina and I stayed. How many people live in your household? So my boyfriend and I live together, and that's helped a lot in the financial aspect of things. Whether you have a significant other or a roommate or a best friend or something, live with them. Live with them. Don't live alone. I don't know why you would live alone. So with that being said, we are a double income household. Do you own or rent? We rent an apartment, and actually everyone who's been making these videos have been talking about like the comparison in their state, whether it's cheaper to rent or own. And it's actually a lot cheaper to own a house in North Carolina. However, me not being from North Carolina and not being quite ready to settle down that much right now, we haven't, and financially ready either, we haven't bought a house. And buying a house in North Carolina, we could get good loans and things, but it's just not something that's been in the cards for us yet. We've been thinking about it a lot lately, but it is a huge decision because to me, growing up, my dad built my house. I lived in the same house my whole life, and it was my house, and I'm not used to moving. The only time I ever moved was from dorm to dorm in college, or now I lived in a previous apartment and I moved to this apartment this year. I'm not fond of moving. I'm not fond of change and taking on the responsibility of actually owning a house. And if we did want to move and having to sell it and go through all that stuff, it's just a lot to take on. So even though our mortgage would be cheaper than our rent, it's just smarter for us to rent right now. What is your highest level of education? Does your education level affect your pay? And this is where I was watching Fernanda's video and I was like, oh honey, because she said something about having your master's and how in every state you get paid for it. Currently, North Carolina is not paying for master's degrees. So you're probably asking, Brianna, why then did you get your master's degree? Well, let me tell you. So I went to High Point University. From the start, like the very first time I went to something about High Point, I was told they have a 5 years master's education program. And I'm like, oh yes, that's so smart. Like I'm gonna do that. And then as I was going through college, I'm like, I cannot pay for that. Like what? I'm not doing that. But then it came time, the end of my junior year, where I had to make the decision whether I wanted to be in the master's program or not. Because if you're in the master's program, you start taking master's classes your senior year of college. At that point, I'm like, well, I'm just going to apply. I'm going to do it. If it turns out I can't actually continue with it, then at least I'll have those credits under my belt and I'll be able to still graduate with my bachelor's my senior year. It's fine. Well, it turns out financial aid covered my master's. Now that's obviously like government loans and stuff, but I was already in so much student loan debt prior to that. I'm just like, what's one more year added to it? And I've talked about this before. It was just like the best decision I've ever made to just continue with it and to not stop my education. So why did I get my master's? Because my school had a 5-year program, and that meant I got my bachelor's in 4 years, and then I started taking master's classes in replace of some of my senior year classes. And then we just had classes that summer, and then we had 1 more year of schooling on top of that, and I had my master's. To me, that seemed like just a great option. Like, who would deny that? You can literally continue with going to school with the people that you've gone with and become so comfortable with. And I had so many of the same professors, and I already knew the school, and it worked out really well. So I stayed because if I didn't get my master's then, I could never see myself going back to school, honestly. And at that point, if you go back to school after you have your bachelor's and after you leave your university or your college or your school or whatever, it would take at least 2 years to get your master's. At the time, I hadn't met my boyfriend, so like at the time I was applying for it and everything, I hadn't met my boyfriend, so I wasn't destined to stay in North Carolina. And in New Jersey, you do get paid for your master's, and that's where I'm originally from. So if I were to go back there, I would have been making a ton of money. However, the cost of living is also so much higher. So I have my master's because eventually I may move somewhere else, or eventually North Carolina may get smart again and decide to pay their teachers for having a good education. So the thing is, I think there was like a cutoff date that if you got your master's and were a teacher in North Carolina before a certain time, you still are on that pay scale and still get paid for it. However, I do not get paid for my master's. There is, however, if you're national board certified, then you do get a higher pay scale. And I've been looking into that, but people have told me that's like getting a second master's, and it's hard work and more money, and you know, they're probably going to take that away too eventually. But in North Carolina, that is the only thing that will get you more money, unless you work at a charter school. My friends who I went to college with, a lot of them work at charter schools, and they do get paid for their masters. But I don't want to work at a charter school. I believe that public schools deserve good teachers too, so I'm sticking with public school right now. How much did it cost you to attain your degrees, and are you still paying for your education? Oh, honey, I will be paying for my education for the rest of my life, but that is also a decision I made when I was in high school. I don't know how much it actually cost. It was like $40,000 a year to go to High Point University, but the way I looked at it, and this is coming from my high school brain, which I still agree with now. Back when I started looking at colleges, my guidance counselor was no help at all. Like, worst guidance counselor ever. My parents at the time were just dealing with a lot of stuff, so they couldn't really help me at that time. My mom tried to a little bit, but it was just hard. And also, my dad went to Virginia Tech for a few years. My mom went to community college. So both of them were also not too familiar with college. I was basically the first in my family to graduate from college. So I was kind of like a little bit on my own when I was deciding where I wanted to go to college and how I was going to do everything. And I didn't have like a college fund or whatever. When I was looking at colleges to apply to, I was thinking, no matter where I go at this point, I'm going to have some kind of student loan debt. And you really only go to college once. Like, this is an essential time in my life where I'm going to have this amazing experience, and there's never a time in my life where something like this could happen again. So I'm gonna make the best of it and go wherever I want to go, no matter how much it costs. And I'm gonna make it happen, and I'm just gonna pay for it the rest of my life. And I'll be okay with it. So that's what I did. Also, High Point University, it's a private school, but if I were to go to like Penn State, which is also where a ton of people from my school went, like, that's more expensive. So when people say state colleges are cheaper, now granted, I didn't live in Pennsylvania, but they're not that much cheaper. And it could be different in different states. Like, I think Georgia, you get free community college. I could be wrong though. But in New Jersey, that was not the case. And I wanted to get away from New Jersey. I knew that. So state schools and community college was never really, I mean, it was an option, but it was never really something that I wanted to be an option. I wanted to get away. I wanted to experience a new state. I wanted to do life on my own and just figure it all out. So that's what I did. So basically I went to school on financial aid and Sallie Mae loans. I don't recommend Sallie Mae, and a little help from grandma along the way. But I am in over $100,000 in debt, and I probably will be for the rest of my life, and that's okay. It's just money. And watching these videos, I'm so happy to hear that I'm not the only one at all. Majority of the teachers I've listened to are in the same boat as me, and they're not worried about their debt either, so that's fine. I'm financially stable with everything else I do. I pay off my credit card at the end of every month. I'm just in way over my head in student loan debt, but that's okay. I'm gonna give them a little bit of money every month and make them happy and just pay them for the rest of my life. How is your salary schedule structured? Starting point, max out salary, annual increases. Well, if you all are familiar with the rally in Raleigh that just happened, I don't know if this is because of it, but there is a new pay scale in North Carolina. I have the 2016-2017 one, which is when I started teaching, and I have the 2018-2019 one. Originally, teachers started at $35,000. Woohoo! Comparable to Arizona. Now, they get paid for their masters. We do not. But also, you have to think about, this is the most money I've ever made in my life, so I feel like a millionaire right now, and that's great. With the new pay scale, and I think I'm looking at the right one, teachers still start at $35,000. The old pay scale, the annual raises were so weird. So it used to max out at $51,000, and that's hilarious because majority of teachers in other states start at that amount. We end at that amount. But also you have to understand the cost of living in North Carolina is so low, so I'm not even worried, okay? But North Carolina, they do not like their teachers. Okay, so from 0 years of experience, you're supposed to get like an increase every year until a certain point. But the increase is so weird. Like from 0 years of experience to year 2, you would have $35,750. So that's plus $750. But then year 3, it just jumps to 36. So that's only $250. But then year 4, it jumps $250. But then year 5, it jumps $500. Like, it's all over the place. So the new pay scale increases $1,000 every year. Then you get to your year 15 and you cap out at $50,000 until year 24. And that's what a lot of teachers in North Carolina are upset over. When for 10 years, you have so much experience and you're just stuck on the pay scale. So you can't be nationally board certified. The first 3 years of your teaching, you have to be out of the BT program. And so my 4th year, if I were to apply, my 4th year I could be making $38,000 unless I'm nationally board certified, then I can be making $42,560. And this is all public knowledge. Like, you can look this up for any state and any district, I believe, and it's all online. Like, that's all I did to get this information. This is not my personal information. And I don't look at this often because it doesn't really, make me want to sing and leap and dance. Yeah, so the most you can make as a teacher in North Carolina is $52,000 at this point in time. But that could change. I mean, it just changed in 2 years that I've been teaching. It just changed, so that's good. Where are you on your district's salary schedule? Well, I just told you I'm going to be in year 3, but it goes by years of experience. So I would have had 2 years of experience, so I'll be making $37,000 if you wanted to know. Like I said, it's online, whatever. Do you supplement your income in any way? If so, how? In the future, I do want to teach summer school because everybody says it's like an additional paycheck on top of all your other ones, which is really nice. And you don't teach for a full month. So in the future, I would like to supplement it that way by teaching summer school. But I mean, and some people aren't saying this, which I don't know why, but I get paid from YouTube. It's not a lot, but I mean, it's money. And honestly, I'm gonna use that to pay my loans. So thanks, YouTube. Thank you for watching. It's really not that much, but it's a thing. So that's helpful. But other than that, I maybe in the future will get a summer job. This summer, I am like my first week I was in New Jersey, and then I'm back in North Carolina, but in 2 weeks I'm going to New Jersey again, and then when I come back to North Carolina, then I'm going on vacation for a week, and then August 1st comes and I like to be back in my classroom. So I don't think I'll ever get another job over the summer unless it's like actually necessary. Right now for me, it's not necessary. Oh, that's another thing about pay. In my district, at least in North Carolina, you can choose if you want to be on the 10-month pay scale or the 12-month pay scale. You still make the same amount of money, but if you do the 12 months, you get a smaller paycheck each month, but it stretches out your money over the whole year. So that's what I do because it's just helpful. And it's nice to get a paycheck every month. How much money does your district give you for supplies at the beginning of the year? Do they provide basic supplies throughout the school year? I found out at my friend's school in Minnesota, he got $2,500 every school year. That's amazing. In North Carolina, the school does not give us money. However, we do get our basic supplies like anchor chart paper. At my school, we don't pay for our copy paper, like that's all there for us. There's a ton of construction paper. We have the bulletin board rolls if you want to use that paper, staplers, tape dispensers, expo markers, like all the basic stuff. We do have a supply closet, pencil sharpeners, so that's nice, that's there for us. And then at the end of every year, our team gets together, grade level team gets together and talks about like any instructional supplies that we'll need for the next year, like the NC Ready books or the ACT books. Like third grade, we got Scholastic News, a subscription to that, our school agendas. We also got take-home folders. So things like that we can submit to the school, and if they have budget for it, like they have, I think, a little bit of money for each grade level, so they can purchase those things for us, but they don't say, here teacher, here's $200 for whatever you need this year. However, we have an amazing PTO, PTA, whatever you want to call it. We call it a PTO, and they give us, I want to say it's like $150. It may be $200. I don't remember exactly, but at the beginning of every year, they do give us a little chunk of change there to use, which is awesome. And we also, this year especially, we went to them a lot. And they raise so much money that they really help us. Like that's where I got my chair pouches from. That's where I got the privacy boards from. We got the little things you put on the bottom of the chairs so that they don't go crazy across the floor. I know third grade got these really cool geometric things, math manipulatives from PTO. Our PTO is like our savior at my school. So we are blessed to have them. Do you have additional deductions taken from your paycheck? Now I'm only 24 and I'm on my mom's insurance till 26, and I am taking that and holding on to that as much as I possibly can, because even though health insurance I don't think is that much, I really don't know anything about it because I'm still covered on her insurance. So I have like normal deductions taken out of my paycheck. I really don't know. I don't pay attention to that. Now people are going to yell at me and say I should. I know. However, we do not have access to our paychecks unless we are on my county's property to access the internet and access that website. You can't access it off campus and everything's online. So I never really have looked at it, to be honest. I do also, so I don't have health insurance taken out, but I did just sign up for dental. So that's something new that's gonna be next year, because I was on my mom's dental insurance and I went to the dentist and I was about to get an x-ray. I waited for this appointment for like 3 months. My mouth is on the machine and they're like, wait, we don't take your insurance. I'm like, what? Why are you telling me this now? My mom asked when she made me the appointment. Yes, my mother made me the appointment. I can only be a big kid in so many ways. My mother still made my dentist appointment. They didn't take my insurance, so I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna get my own dental insurance. I haven't been to the dentist in years, and that's probably awful. Actually, no, it is awful. But so I took it upon myself to be a big kid and get dental insurance, and that's gonna be like $22 a month, which I won't really be able to tell because, like I said, every year I'm gonna get an extra $1,000. Basically, my raise will pay for my dental insurance. Do you feel like your current salary is enough for you to make ends meet? Honestly, right now, yes. I don't have pets. I don't have children. I'm very happy. I live in a nice apartment. I live in a 2-bedroom apartment, and I don't need 2 bedrooms. I don't need 2 full bathrooms. I don't need to live in the nice area that I live in, but I'm able to. Now, would I be able to do that without my boyfriend's help? Because we split everything in half? Probably. However, I wouldn't be able to buy a new quilt for my bed that I just did. I wouldn't be able to buy a ton of things for my classroom like I do. I would have to then be really tight on my money. Right now, as just a girl in a relationship without any dependents, I'm fine. If I were to get married and have kids though, I don't know how fine that would be. So it's something that I'll definitely need to plan for in the future, and that's when I will start looking at my finances. But right now, I have a savings account. Like, I buy things when I want to. I go on a nice vacation once a year. Like, I'm doing okay and I'm comfortable and I'm happy. How many months a year do you receive a paycheck? Oh, that's what I said. I get the 12-month paycheck. In general, what are your major monthly expenses? So my rent, which with utilities, and I don't have cable anymore, but internet, Netflix, Hulu, water, comes out to like $900. Maybe it adds up to $1,000. It's definitely not over $1,000 for everything for my apartment. So I split that in half with my boyfriend, and then neither of us have car payments, which is awesome. I think that's like a huge thing as to why we're so comfortable. And then my other monthly expenses, oh, but I do have car insurance, which is like $100 a month because I have State Farm and I have like full cover, well, not full cover, I don't know, a lot of coverage, because my boyfriend probably doesn't have the greatest insurance in the world and pays like $100 every 6 months. But I pay $100 a month for car insurance. And I mean, coming from New Jersey, that's like a huge drop down. So it doesn't really faze me. But rent, car insurance, the only thing that I don't pay for is my phone, which my mother is cutting me off soon, so that will be interesting. I'll have to do my phone payment. That'll probably be another $100, yippee. And then my student loans, obviously, which they expect me, well, Sally Mae expects me to pay over $800 a month. And then I would be really broke, so I'm not doing that because that's just not possible. So I'm just giving them as much as I can, and at least I'm giving them anything. And then obviously like groceries and gas, but I've gotten groceries down where I really don't buy that much. We do get HelloFresh and Home Chef, which I've showed you guys before. So that's like $60 whenever we get that for the week, which is like 3 meals. But then I eat the same lunch every day. For breakfast, I get eggs and potatoes, so that's all cheap. When I first started going grocery shopping, we would buy so much, try to plan out dinner, and it just wasn't, it would end up costing us more money because we'd be throwing so much food away. So doing Home Chef and HelloFresh has stopped us from throwing stuff away. And then if we want to make a specific dinner, well, our Walmart grocery store is just down the road. So we just go there that day instead of planning way in advance. And then we do go to like Panera and Chipotle and stuff like that. Are there any financial goals that you are still working towards? I mean, you should be working towards financial goals your whole life. What I'm currently working towards, like on my bank account, I could like set up like what I'm saving things for. So I like doing that. And currently I'm trying to save to have backup rent for an entire year, just as my like safety money. And then I also have another little chunk for vacation. What is the biggest piece of financial advice you would offer someone considering teaching? What I would say, and what I kind of wish I did, because I think I mindlessly spent my money when I was younger. As soon as you can get a job, I don't know if you have to be 16 now. I was 15 when I got a job. Get a job and save that money. There's no reason to go out and buy so many clothes. Oh my goodness, there's not. I know trends are constantly changing, so get one thing of that trend and use it and love it and live in it and whatever, but save your money from when you're in high school. And if you can get a job in college, do so, because that's going to help you out. Save that money. Have that money, that way when you do graduate and you do start having adult expenses, you have something in your bank to keep you stable. I've always had some money in my bank, so I think that's the biggest thing that's helped me, because I'm not relying on my monthly paycheck. And I don't want to live paycheck to paycheck ever. Like, I don't want that to be a thing. So I guess that's another goal, but that should be a goal for you as well. So if you are looking into teaching, like, I mean, I'm surviving just fine. It's not a thing that you're not going to make it and that you don't make money at all. Like, I mean, like I said before, this is the most money I've ever made. So I'm pretty happy. But save your money while you don't have those expenses. That way it's just there for the future and you are going to thank yourself so much. Side note, if you made it this far into the video, this is a long video. Clearly you can tell I'm lonely in the summer. If you made it this far and you have any questions for me, I'm going to do a Q&A sometime this week, so leave them down below. Let me know they're for the Q&A, that way I don't answer them in the comments, and they will be in my next video, whatever you want to know. That's how I'm surviving in North Carolina. It's really not that hard. I'm doing okay. I'm making like no money according to the world, but at least in North Carolina it works, and I'm happy and I love what I do. And clearly teaching is not about how much you make at all. Yeah, I'm signing off. See you guys next time. Happy summer. Bye.